New smears against Trump supporters from the 2020 Democrats. Here's Mayor Pete Buttigieg trashing Christians who support the president. Take a listen.
I'm not going to tell other Christians how to be Christians, but I will say I cannot find any compatibility between the way this president conducts himself and anything that I find in Scripture.
And Joe Biden continues to try to stir up tension.
I'm asking if you think Bernie Sanders is acting Trump-like in his refusal to disavow people that may be unsavory, but that are very enthusiastic about him.
Well, by the way, the white supremacists are very enthusiastic about Trump.
Right.
It's not whether they're enthusiastic about him, it's the things they do.
Dana, how dangerous are those comments by Mayor Pete to his campaign?
Well, remember, like, who his audience is right now are the Democratic primary voters, and so they are aghast that Christian evangelicals would actually support President Trump, and they can't understand it, and they constantly are asking and writing articles over and over again about how could this possibly be, and they won't accept the answer. But the other thing is, to me, well, if it's dangerous, I don't know for him in the long run, but the great thing about Christianity is that it's not for us to judge. Like, it's not our job. There's somebody else in charge of that. So you could just stop it at that sentence by saying, I'm not going to tell other Christians how to be Christians, period.
Jesse, are those comments by Biden just another indication that he's stuck in 2016 or like 1916?
I don't like that game that politicians play where they say, you have to disavow these people, and then you have to disavow, because all it is the Democrats make Republicans disavow their own people, and then if you ever point out anything on their side, they act like nothing happened.
Yep.
But with regard to Pete, he's barking up the wrong tree. He has his own issues with Christian compatibility that he needs to pay attention to within his own party before he starts pointing fingers. Well, I think it's clear that African Americans have a little doubt about whether they'd vote for him based on his lifestyle. But that's not my issue. My issue is when he says that Christians, when he says Christians have to separate what they see from Trump with Scripture. Trump is the biggest crusader for the values that Christians hold dear in the culture war. He's the biggest culture warrior we've had in a long time, talking about not kneeling for the flag, appointing pro-life judges. He says, Merry Christmas. Remember, he brings that back. But if you look at the Democrats, he's fighting a war against them who are there trying to, sue nuns over Obamacare, try to boot the pledge out of schools, and, partial birth abortion. So I think Christians know Trump's not a born-again, evangelical. They see him for what he is, and they appreciate the things he fights for, not what he does in his free time.
Greg, you had some thoughts on the Biden comments?
Well, yeah, I mean, I've been fairly nice to him. But I think he's a pathetic, dim-witted loser. No, he's a fumbling, feeble dolt who needs to go, because that was a fatal error, what he did. What he did was he smeared Trump supporters using the extremist contamination ploy, like, the white supremacists are going to be happy. So he wants you to think that anybody that supports Trump is somehow shares those same intentions. Never mind, Joe, that Trump has done more for minorities than you ever have. He's done stuff for black colleges. He's done stuff for jobs and wages and prison reform. Joe, what do? You point to Barack and you say, hey, that's my black friend. That's all you do. So I'm sorry, when Trump breaks records with the black vote, someone should wheel Joe out and show him the facts, and then he can in his stupor, they can ask him for a comment. Because that was garbage, and them chuckling over it. What a bunch of jackasses.
Geraldo, I wanted to get your thoughts actually on Amy Klobuchar, which is also on our 2020 radar. She was getting mocked after saying this to Hispanic voters. Take a listen.
So let me tell you first about me. My name is Amy, and when I took Spanish in 4th grade, my name was Elena. They gave me the name me llamo Elena because I couldn't roll my R's very, very well, and so it was Elena.
Is that Hispandering or just fumbling?
Elena no puede hablar español, es claro. Hispandering, that's a great title. I just want to say briefly that I think that Biden is guilty of what I see very commonly, ask a Democrat, do you think all Republicans are racist? And too many of them hesitate before they reluctantly say, all right, no. So that's pathetic. In terms of the Hispanic vote, I think that this is a vote that's up for grabs. The president has, in his harsh language about immigration, left an opening for the Democrats to expand that base. I urge him, I talk to him personally, speak with compassion about this population. This is a population that you can absolutely, these are entrepreneurial people, faith-based people, family-oriented people. These people could be Republicans, as George W. Bush famously said. So I want the president to be much more expansive and much kinder when it comes to that whole border issue. You can build the damn wall. I don't care about the wall as long as there's a big door, as he says there's going to be a big door. I think that the president now has a historic opportunity to expand the Republican Party in a way that we have not seen since Ronald Reagan in the second term. This is huge, and he can do it. He's just the guy to do it. I see him working it in the African-American community. I want to help him, to get that language to the DACA students, the DREAM Act students. These are people that you want to bring into the American dream. This is el sueño americano para nosotros. Let's do this.
If those values are shared, regardless then of nationality or country of origin, wouldn't they then be attracted to, as you were saying, the policies that have been furthered by Trump that have resulted in, for example, higher wages, achieving the American dream, faith-based judges, et cetera?
But you got to be, sometimes you got to play to a certain crowd. It doesn't take a lot.
Right.
Spanish people are very open. They're very, they love to be loved. And I don't think it's that difficult for the president to do it. He's just the personality to do it.
I love to be loved, too.
Okay.